All right, the most useless piece of information I'm going to share with you today is right here. It is Tuesday, June 17th. I have no idea when this is going to hit your eyes or your ears for reasons that are completely secondary to everything else I'm going to say. But the point is, my pal, your friend, Mike Mutnansky is back of the world famous mutstack.com. Can we get an update on the subscriber count? Because I'm always pitching it as like near 5,000, near this, close to that. Where are we at?
Well, since last time we talked, Andrew, I came on your podcast and we are over 10 million subscribers now. We are past 10 million. It's all because of the Pat's Interference audience. So thank you to them. Mike Giardi, he was a huge help in doing this. Nick Fitzy-Stevens. I mean, what a push from you guys. No, just over 5,000. It's a nice round number. Very thankful to have a passionate sports base and sports betting base and horse racing base that wants to listen to me talk on a podcast and write every Friday. So I appreciate you mentioning that. You can subscribe for free at mutstack.com and push us over 11 million by the time we get to football season.
That took me 2 whole seconds as the folks in YouTube could see me process with my stupid smile and laugh and go, oh, he said 10 million,
10 million,
not
wow.
10,000. I was like, good God, who promoted that? I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again because the reason I told the folks at the beginning, I don't know when this is going to drop, is for other reasons. But you and I are going to get into different topics that are topical now and not necessarily all Patriots oriented. So we're going to do that in the front end. Now, if you want to find some Patriots and some Red Sox and some Boston sports media talk, subscribe to the Mutstack as I do. And this is the part that I pitch every time. There are very few things in my life that delight me when they hit my inbox. They're ads or PR requests of, oh, hey, look, this retired Patriot's doing something over here. You want to go? No, I don't. No, I want to do my job. But when I get this, I always learn something. I am always smiling. And I encourage you to subscribe to Mutt's Substack. Now, the grab bag today, as I said, mostly Patriots. So whenever this drops, you'll enjoy it. You'll have your football talk, a little bit of sports media in here, a little bit of Red Sox, because I've calmed down, not that much. I have a red Harvard shirt on to match my red face, which has been going on now the last 48 hours since Rafael Devers was traded to San Francisco. We're going to have the lowest budget gimmick in niche Patriots podcasting coming up right now. The grab bag. We have 7 items. We're going to go 5 minutes apiece. I am going to spin a wheel, and of these topics, I don't know what order we're going to go in. The wheel will decide, and we will go from there. All you're ready, wow. Mike Mutnansky.
Wow, I have 6 topics written down, so I forget what the 7th is. So I'm struggling for the 7th.
The wheel will decide. Here we go.
Okay, let's go.
And the Patriots podcasting wheel, brought to you by Pat's Interference and the CLNS Media Network, lands on your best Patriots take right now.
Oh, shit.
Start the clock.
This is my worst one. Out of the questions that you sent me, this is my worst answer, I think, because it's June 17th. Again, this might air in July at some point, but it's June 17th now. How can I have a great Patriots take? I would like you to go first. I want to defer on this first one. Like you've been around the team more than I have. Like, I just feel like everything I was going to say was going to be generic. I don't feel like I have a great one. So I was hoping you would go first with your great Patriots take. Then I could potentially play off of that or think of one while you were speaking.
Just a fiery start by you. I'm
being honest.
Here's the deal. My best take right now is that the Patriots could go 4-0 or they could go 0-4 in September. And this is one of the teams, as I discussed on my last episode with Aaron Schatz, that has the widest variance, meaning the widest range of outcomes because of a young quarterback, new infusion of talent at a lot of spots that are going to have a lot of moving pieces, not to mention the coaching staff. You do get 3 out of 4 at home, but you're in the same tier as the Raiders. You live in the same neighborhood as the Steelers. The Panthers are coming in. That's cool. Oh, and then you have to go to Miami, who stinks, but it's Miami. So when I say this, it's on the heels of all the, look at the schedule. What are they going to go? 10-7, 9-8, 8-9. I don't know. What I'm telling you, September is especially crazy. And for teams like the Patriots, when people get certain about this, I just tell you every time, we know nothing. And we especially know nothing in September.
Yeah, the first month of the year is always kind of a mirage anyway. So I would not take what they do in September as being what they'll be throughout the entire season. I do like that take. My take is coaching related, and I feel this surge coming. I feel this wave coming. We are getting set for a huge Mike Vrabel Coach of the Year culture change like that. And I'm going to be sick of it because he's just a football coach. But after the last couple of years here, the way the team has gone, the way Vrabel's come in, like I am convinced post Mayo that You'll be writing about it locally, nationally. It's so easy to write about this. Like, look what Vrabel's come in and done. He brought in his own guys. Look at the guys he drafted. Like, people are going to get sick of it. Like, I love desserts. Like, I love key lime pie. But like the 7th or 8th day in a row where it's key lime pie, it gets a little sweet on the tooth. We're going to get a little sick of the Mike. I take this back. Patriot fans will love it. I'm cynical. I'm going to get sick of it. I'll be eye-rolling Mike Vrabel as the savior for the franchise sometime in October is what I feel like I'm going to do. Because we're in June, and I can already sort of feel like Vrabel's the tough guy. He's here. 4 wins a year ago. Projected went 8 or 9 wins. There'll be a point in time where it's going to be too much. So that's my hot take. We're going to all look at each other, those of us that are cynical, and say, all right, let's chill out on Mike Vrabel. He's a football coach. It's not all him. The quarterback's pretty good too.
Would it help you to know that Mike Vrabel will smack that down in the way that he would chop down any offensive tackle's arms back in the day to get around them? Like, just a straight, I don't want to hear anything like that.
Or a rookie offensive lineman's workout. He just chopped him down during the. I do like because it won't be him. He won't be self-promoting this. Like, I'm not putting this on Vrabel, but it's such an easy media narrative. Drake May last year was the rookie, right about him. Now it's Vrabel. He's returned. He'll do something, and I can already see this now. Like, early in the year, he'll do something Belichickian, right? He'll do something where he catch the team off guard, like whatever it is. Oh, and it's going to be just vomit-inducing how much we're going to plumb up. And he's going to be a great coach. He's going to be a coach of the year candidate. All that's fair. It's going to be a little bit too much because the media likes the low-hanging fruit. Mike Vrabel turning the thing around is low-hanging fruit. We're going to get sick of that this year. That's my prediction.
I have a prediction that is going to cash immediately because we might be talking about Mike Vrabel a little bit later in this podcast. We still have under a minute left in this segment. I honestly thought, and this is not just to rag on you, but you haven't been on in, I think, a couple of months.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? You could go small. This is not like you're leading with the A block on the show, but you really like this or believe this strongly in a way that's not contrarian, but above or below consensus.
I really like the kid Williams, the rookie. Like, I think we talked since the draft. Like, I didn't want the offensive lineman. Obviously, they get the offensive lineman, whatever. I mean, I've bought in. You want to talk? So now I'm hyping up that there's going to be Mike Vrabel hype. I am all in on the kid Williams. Like, I think he could be the third down back. He could be the full-time back. Like, he's 40 catches.
Oh, TreVeyon Henderson.
Touchdowns. Like,
are we talking about Kyle Williams, the receiver, or TreVeyon Henderson, the running back?
I'm sorry, TreVeyon Henderson. See, I have so many things written down here in my notes. TreVeyon Henderson, running back, not the receiver from, is it Washington or Washington State?
Washington State. Okay, time is up. That is I promise to everyone that this podcast will only get better from here. The best take he has is I'm gonna be sick of everyone liking the coach in October. And then the running back, or is it the receiver? I love them. Forget the name. It's not important. We can come back to that later. All right. It is time to again spin that wheel.
Here we go.
And the Pats interference wheel says, oh, who is the third most important Patriot this year behind Mike Vrabel and obviously Drake May? Clock starts now.
See, it's funny. So I was wondering if you meant players, because I think Drake May is easily number one. Drake May is number one, no question. It was, to me, then, did you include the coach, and then Vrabel will be number two? Can I go with, is it obvious to say
go with whomever you feel is the right answer.
The big fella up front. The way he spent all the money on Milton Williams. That to me,
Milton Williams,
the big dog. Mr. Williams up front. Because, first of all, they spent the big money on him. And we were like, it was a surprise when they signed him. We were shocked when they signed him. Can't believe they spent the money. He was supposed to go, was it to Tennessee? Like the hours before
Carolina.
He was going with Carolina, yeah, blue team. He was headed there. Patriots swoop in, they get the guy. And I just envision if the Patriots defense is going to be as good as some of your friends in the media are projecting it to be here we are not even in training camp yet. It's going to be because he is an impact player up front. And even in not limited snaps, but not a full-time player, whatever they want, Mike Vrabel deploys him, his impact is so big that other guys around him are able to make plays. And if they're going to win 8 or 9 games, if Mike Vrabel is going to be a coach of the year candidate, as much as I would love to say a receiver, because the receiver's got to prop up the quarterback, it's Williams up front and what he is able to do for this team. And if he's an impact player, he could make that defense really, really, really good. Hate to put it on one guy, but when you pay him that much money, and you saw the production last year, limited time in Philadelphia, I'm going to go Milt Williams as the second most important Patriot, third most important Patriot behind May and Brady.
Okay. I am going to go with the receiver because I think there are fewer ways to replace Stephon Diggs at his best with your other players or schematically than there is Milton Williams, who, let's just say, he gets hurt, right? Or he, otherwise disappoints. You can blitz a little bit more. You can stunt. You can run certain games. You can use sim pressures, creepers, whatever you want. It's not going to be a 1-for-1 for one of the most efficient pass rushers per snap in the entire league last year, which is what he was and why he got paid as well as he did. But the other person I considered for this, I think Milton Williams is firmly inside everyone's top 10, if not top 5. For me, was Josh McDaniels. And because the way this team is built, and not just because he's going to coach the quarterback, and again, the proximity to the players or people at the top of the list by default almost makes you just behind them on the list. I just think if Josh McDaniels has an A-plus day, I would pick whatever game, the Patriots can still screw that up. Like if Garrett Bradbury blows a pass protection, a block right in the middle of the offense, even though they have the exact scheme to beat a man blitz, the play's over. If Stephon Diggs does his job and gets open, okay, that takes the Patriots to a higher place than I think Josh McDaniels' perfect play call could, because he's going to beat man coverage. He's going to draw extra defensive attention. He's going to do all of the things that none of the other Patriots receivers can, in addition to just helping the quarterback, which will unlock opportunities for them. I don't know what his health is. I'm more optimistic than I've ever been that he'll start week 1. But that, to me, because of the way he changes, again, things schematically for the quarterback and within his own position group, that you can't replace in a way that I think you probably could if Josh McDaniels had to sit out because he got sick one Sunday, right, and handed the play sheet to somebody else, or Milton Williams gets sick. He's the most irreplaceable player if he's at his peak, and that's why he was my number 3.
Yeah, I wrote down both names. I had Williams and Diggs as my two guys, and there's also part he's not on this list, but I have high hopes for Hunter Henry again this year, man. I love the connection he had with Drake May a year ago. I think Josh being here is going to unlock him even more at the tight end position. I know some Patriot beat writers thought that he was only here because of his contract. I think he's an impact player. He was May's favorite guy a year ago. So Diggs is a huge part of it. I don't disagree.
Well, I mean, Hunter Henry, if he's not here, they have Austin Hooper, and that's it in that tight end room. So I don't know who's saying it's just the contract, but that's a guy.
Austin Hooper made some plays last year for this team, surprisingly.
He did, and they don't have a number 3 tight end behind them, which in the grand picture of building NFL teams is a small potatoes problem. But when you're the Patriots, who are really trying to squeeze and wring every point you can out of this offense, Hunter Henry plays the middle of the field, is going to play inline tight end, split out wide, be a target in the red zone, et cetera, et cetera. He's not a top 10 tight end in the league anymore, but he's more than serviceable for you. All right. We still have 24 seconds here on the clock. Other names I considered here, you could make a case for any GM moves at midseason if they're going to make moves. You could make a case for guys that if they make the leap, Keon White on the edge, who I've said that group is going to be a little bit underrated. Christian Gonzalez, if he reaches
that's a good
Island level of
number 1 cornerback,
performance, you just shut down half of the field. That again unlocks a lot of things schematically, and again that the Patriots just can't simply stop. All right, time is up, which means it's time to spin that wheel. Who, by the way, for the folks wondering what these little tiny sound effects are as we're waiting, not this one. We've got IT on it. We will figure those out here in a second. All right, the wheel is fun. Very good. Next one we have on the Pats Interference Grab Bag. What do you want from your training camp OTA coverage next in the media? Because
this is selfishly me. I know you've got a take that you're going to – I'll let you fire that off because I don't disagree with the way you're going to talk about it and the position specifically. But I'm going to steal this from a guy by the name of Adam Levitan. He works for a website called Establish the Run. He, before that, worked for Roto Grinder. He's a big fantasy DFS gambling guy.
Good follow.
And he has said for probably a decade now, Callahan, that there should be an assigned beat writer to each team that just focuses on what the impact would be from a gambling standpoint and a fantasy DFS standpoint. And for me, there are a couple positions this year in particular. I mentioned running back between Henderson, Gibson, Stevenson. I want to know who's getting what reps, who's with the first team. Like that, as you're getting ready to draft fantasy teams this late summer, early fall, that's going to make or break some leagues. Like, who gets that right? Same thing in the wide receiver position. Like, I think we all think Steph Diggs is going to be the clear-cut number one for this team. But after that, who's next in line? Who's the full-time slot guy for Drake May? Is Hunter Henry the clear number one, or are they going to go with 2 tight end sets? Like, so for me, selfishly, the offensive skill positions, I would love to know on a daily basis who's where, who's leaning towards big playing time. And but by the time we get to week 1, I'm ahead of the game. And especially with this team at running back and receiver, it feels very wide open, especially at running back. So I want playing time. I want who's in the red zone. Like, is one guy emerging as the red zone running back? I would love to know that for this team. Who's Drake May's favorite target of the first year receivers for him? Like that, that's what I'll be, as a consumer of your product. That's what I'll be focused in on. You know, whoever is on your beat doing that, I would love to see that as a focus, not just this year, but every year. Somebody who bets on these games, player props, like those are kind of important, as we and I have talked about the last couple of years, like things that point us to the right direction there and can put money in my pockets. God knows I could use it. That's what I'm looking forward in terms of training camp, OTAs. Probably not as much as OTAs because it's so early in the process, but training camp specifically, playing time, roles, targets, all that stuff on the offense.
I think it's a fine idea. I would also then compel fantasy websites and gambling outlets to then hire your own beat reporters just to do that, which isn't to take it off my plate, because I do a lot of that work. But I also am paying attention defensively, where all of that information about who's the third defensive tackle, who's the dime linebacker. When they go nickel, is it more often 3 corner or 3 safety? That I know is useless to what you're talking about.
No. There are tackle and sack stats. It's not useless. Player props everywhere, brother.
Individual defense fantasy leagues, which one of my best friends is in one every single year. It's just a sicko
terrible
activity.
I hate IDP. No thanks.
The reason I bring up this question is not to certainly not wag a finger at what I still think is the hardest working and up there with any beat in the NFL, maybe even in pro sports, and the people that I work alongside. It's just to ask, okay, what can we do better this year in the way that players do this, the way that coaches do this, the way that I do this every offseason, in a real exercise in self-flagellation, reading all of my stuff from the season before and going, okay, stop doing this. I need to do more of that. To me, the answer about what can make our coverage of training camp better, where the evolution generally of regular season coverage got better because you could watch more tape, you could consume more data, you could rewatch and do the things that teams are doing. We don't have that luxury. What we can do, though, in the moment, is to contextualize everything. You referenced this a little bit in the red zone. When Drake May's completion percentage goes down in a day, was it a red zone day? Yeah. When he's throwing passes, are they within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, or did they go further? What about the turnover-worthy plays? Because we all do the quarterback stats, and I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I just don't think the value of them in isolation, in a vacuum, is really worth that much. But when you add context, you add value, and it's going to be tricky, and I think there's some troubleshooting to do, but that's something that I'm going to try to do, certainly more this summer when I write 2,500 words every single day for all kinds of audience to recap practice, because I know that's what I would want to read if I was a fan.
Yeah, I'm reading the offensive stuff. Like, how does Drake May look? And to your point about the situations, like, was it just against air? Like, I don't care if he completed 11 or 12 against air. Were there defensive backs involved? I think that
or 7-on-7s versus 11-on-11s. Huge difference.
I give you credit for going back and trying to make yourself better. And I think that would help the consumer of the product get a better sense of what's going on down there and put it better in context for how good really the quarterback is playing. Like, what are we talking? It's the quarterback. We care about the quarterback. How does Drake May look? Is he emerging? That stuff would be a huge help, and it'd make the coverage more compelling, if that makes sense.
Yes. All right, clock is up. It is time to spin that wheel.
That was a quick one. Wow.
4 more topics to go. Where will we land?
This wheel is deadly.
Oh, surprise. It says ad read. So it is time to tell you about PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Which, look, if you've listened to this podcast or watched it for a while, I get it. You've heard me make the same points again. But I will tell you, I just used PrizePicks watching basketball last night with old pal Mike Giardi. And we had, let's say, middling success, because this is how easy it is. You just build a lineup. And if you think you're smarter than me or you think you're smarter than Mike, listen up closely because you have better than middling success. You're not picking teams. You're not picking anything you don't want to. You can even change the numbers the way that you want because your job is just to build a lineup of 2 to 6 players in baseball, hockey, basketball for as long as you can, any other sport, and each player comes with a stat. You look at the stat. If you like it, boom, put it in the lineup and then pick more or pick less. That's it. 1 player, 2 player, that's a lineup. You go all the way to 6. I wouldn't advise that, personal experience as of last night, but there it is at PrizePicks. And when I say that you can get better value by changing the numbers or playing on a Friday or playing on a Tuesday because they give all these different promotions, Taco Tuesday, the easiest to remember, just not when you have to explain it during an ad read, you can only find this at PrizePicks. This is the best, simplest, easiest way to turn your sports knowledge into real cash. So download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50, 50, instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, I think we have to spin it again.
That wasn't 5 minutes for the record.
That's okay.
Just saying. The rules
This is the deal when you have your own gimmick on the podcast, you can change the clock.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Harvard t-shirt, brag, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Patriot under the most pressure.
This is I got a big question mark here because I feel like it's a trick question. There's one answer. It's Drake May. Who else would we consider for the most pressure on this team? It's Drake May. Unless you're considering coaches.
I mean, I think even if you consider coaches that they're behind Drake May. That's what I think.
Yeah, I was going to try to make an argument that his development is tied to Josh. And so Josh is under pressure to make sure he gets the most out of Drake May. But I can't do that. Like we saw a player last year who has really high physical talent, from all coverage from guys like Andrew Callahan. Mentally, he's not somebody who's a roller coaster, right? He's a nice, steady presence. He's not up and down. His teammates like him. He makes big plays in the clutch. He takes coaching. And now if he can make that leap from year 1 to year 2, now you're in the mix for a playoff spot, the AFC East. And when he really makes that leap down the road, you're in the contention for Super Bowl. So this, not to say it's all on his right shoulder, but there is not a player under more pressure than Drake May. And he's probably in the conversation, Andrew, in terms across the NFL, one of the most players under the most pressure. Now, you can say it happens to a lot of second-year quarterbacks. It's probably fair. But in this case, given what happened a year ago, the expectations now, they spent money, they have some talent around him. It's Drake May, and there's nobody else close. Nobody else close.
So if you were to build a case against Drake May being this answer, I think there are things you could reach for, starting with the fact that he will turn 23 this year, right? He has a long career ahead of him.
Yeah.
He has a bad offensive line still in front of him. And if Stephon Diggs, for whatever reason, is unavailable week 1 or week 5 or later in the season, you're still dealing with one of the worst receiving corps in the entire league and a team that I think, at least publicly, knowing how Mike Vrabel has operated with the media so far and listening to Drake May's teammates, are going to insulate him from criticism and throw themselves in front of the bus, knowing that that bus is now coming for him every single Sunday, particularly when he throws picks, and the excuse or the line or just the reality of last year he was a rookie is no longer available. So there are release valves, but when you do play in such a pressure-packed market, obviously, a town that has chewed up and spit out certain athletes time and again, including one of his predecessors, Mac Jones, though Bill Belichick kind of fed him into the wood chipper. It can happen. And I think they're going to protect him, and I think they should. I think he's tough. And I've said time and again, I'm a Drake May believer. But yeah, he's the right answer. Secondary answers on a much smaller scale, because I think part of this, you can take as like job security, your performance to keep your standing on the depth chart, salary.
Sure.
Kayshon Boutte, guy, very simple, numbers game in the receivers room. Okay, you don't care that much about Kayshon Boutte? Fine. Kyle Duggar comes to mind.
Yeah.
Second biggest cap hit on the team. Didn't play well last year because he had a high ankle sprain. They have brought in so many safeties that do what he does, and he's in a new system. So I don't care as much that he didn't play or participate that much in practice this spring. They're trying to get him healthy. I think he's got his head on straight. But if they found a suitor in late August and he hasn't stood out in training camp, you're telling me they couldn't get a seventh, a pick swap, an offload, but would then be $10 million for a team that certainly likes time and again to offload salary. I don't know. And I don't think that's what Kyle Duggar wants. I think he wants to stay here and play.
You're going to mention playing time. Is there a chance that Ramondre gets boxed out because the other running backs are better than him this year?
So he also came to mind. And even though Antonio Gibson probably, edged him out slightly as the better back last year,
Yeah.
I think some people
Better all-around back, better receiving back for sure.
Right. And also just didn't fumble every other game.
Yep.
I think he knows he's here, and I think he has the motivation. Like, okay, the pressure of a running back being drafted in the second round and TreVeyon Henderson, I think comes with two ways. You could see it, oh my God, pressure, I have to do this. Or a guy that might need a little kick in the ass just because of the performance the last 2 years and he can be better. That's it.
Yeah.
So he takes that more as motivation than kind of pressure, if that makes sense.
Okay. Makes sense.
Anybody else on the fringes? You could go into the receiver room, you're doing the big stack. How about ownership?
Yeah, I would put Josh at ownership. We're going to go back to guys we sort of mentioned before. Josh McDaniels. I mean, I'm a Josh fan. He's got some big time haters here in this market, and if the offense struggles early, he is going to hear it. And again, you can fill in the blank on this, but there's at least some debate as to whether he's a Vrabel guy or a Kraft guy. And is there a chance if they get out to a slow start, Vrabel can point to that and say he's not the answer long term? So I think Josh is under some pressure here to make sure the offense hums with Drake May right out of the gate. By the way,
I think that's a fair point. I don't really care about the Kraft Vrabel thing, even if the answer is probably a little bit of both. Just because they were talking in November before Mike Vrabel even had head coaching interviews. But the fact that Josh can't go anywhere else, basically, doesn't want to go anywhere else, yeah, he does have to perform. All right, we've gone over 5 minutes. Time to spin that wheel.
Spin it.
Oh. Speaking of the Boston sports media, you are Boston sports media czar for a day. Mike Mutnansky, what are you doing?
The biggest thing I'm doing, and I'm retooling Nesson. I'm just retooling Nesson. For those that are outside the market, Nesson is the Red Sox station. They are owned by the Boston Red Sox, and they have all this Red Sox footage. They have all this Red Sox programming, and we get reruns, we get infomercials, we get replays like 12 hours after the fact of half-hour and 15-minute sports recap shows. I want to make Nesson a competitor for your friends at NBC Sports Boston. I know you're employed by those folks. They do a fine job. Never call me, but they do a fine job. And I want them to have a real competitor. They don't right now. They just don't. Nesson is there to broadcast games, do some pre and post game, and get the hell out of there. I want Nesson to be a competitor. I want opinions. Maybe air, Sports Hub and the radio station, their shows are on NBC Sports Boston. Maybe start airing EEI shows. I want a real TV sports competitor to NBC Sports Boston. I'm not going to fire anybody. I'm not going to make anyone leave their job. I want everyone to keep their job. I just want Nesson to be a real competitor. When you watch the Yes Network and you see Yankeeography and the amount of money they put into these great old programs about the Yankee teams that were good, 90s, whatever, Red Sox do none of that. Nesson does none of that. I'm sure it makes money, but it is bare bones. So if I'm going to come in for a day, I'm going to retool Nesson, bring back some of the people they've lost to ESPN over the years, personalities, talk shows, a competitor for NBC Sports Boston. That's what I'm doing first and foremost.
I like it. That reminds me, I've had this long-standing idea. I'm going to run it by you right now.
Sure.
If there was a bar somewhere in Boston, but we'll say just for argument's sake, it's downtown. Location's not an issue. People going to and from games are going to bypass this place.
Yep.
And their deal was, we are just going to fully lean into that sports nostalgia. We will have TVs that will play the current games, but also have TVs that are just constantly cycling through old Patriots games, old Red Sox championships, old Celtics finals. And this is where we're going to make our buck. You want to come and watch great games and your teams win, even if it's over and over again. I don't know what it's called. If you have any suggestions, please drop them in the comments or tweet me. But I think this bar would absolutely kill Monday through Sunday.
Certainly during slower periods, it would kill. And they could probably do a promotion where it's they tell you ahead of time what games they're going to air. And you could go to their website now and see they're going to show Pats Giants. They're going to show what some Pats, whatever that is. Do a whole Tom Brady month. Clearly, the theme bars are working. They're about to launch, if they have not already, a sports bar in Boston which just shows women's sports. Like these are becoming more themed than ever. And I think to tie into that nostalgia of Boston sports, that would definitely make money. Yes. But so am I taking, you're not going to answer this question because you're
No,
part
no,
of the
no.
Boston
I'm gonna
media?
answer the question, and I'm
Okay.
gonna speak exactly to what you
I do
offered
like,
because
yeah.
I've had multiple friends whom I've worked with who were laid off by Nesson or Nesson parted with them otherwise and said directly, they fucked up. So I think there's a management piece of this that I can't speak to because I've never been in their building, frankly. But the
Yeah.
things that you just listed that seem like low hanging, profitable fruit, not to mention just sticking with the plan and good writers on their website, just is not being reached and not being determined and not being laid out. So there are definitely changes they can make. I like the idea of the EI crossover because it's just free not free, but whatever the programming cost is, that overlap with the Sports Hub is really good for NBC Sports Boston. I think there is a lot of potential there with Destin, and for whatever reason, they just can't figure it out. So I do like your idea. Mine is more of a broader thing. Well, first of all, I'm starting a full-on campaign across the city that the Patriots reintroduce the Bledsoe Blues immediately. I need those 90s jerseys back into my life, and I think media
Not a
pressure
sports media. That's
will get to the craft.
any Pat fan
Number
with a
two,
brain that played Tecmo Super Bowl wants those blue back. So yes, that's not a media thing though. That's not
no,
you're skating the issue. Skating the
number
issue.
two, with a minute and 8 seconds left, I need an order basically that the blame pie needs to come down and the laughter needs to come up. And this isn't about being nicer to the home teams. I just shredded the Red Sox. I shredded Jason Tatum a couple of months ago. I've shredded the Patriots on numerous occasions. But blame is so easy. It is the lowest hanging fruit that it is always on the ground to pick up whenever you need to do a segment. And I'm just sick of the blame. When I listen to radio and I listen to podcasts, I want to laugh and I want to learn. And if this is a day where we're just not going to laugh because the Red Sox traded Rafael Devers, I want to dive into that and have discussions that enrich my experience doing that. Not just that sucks, this is stupid, who do we blame, who's at fault, or just twist things because you feel like you need to fill airtime. I want to enrich. That is the word kept in mind. Whatever you're doing, everyone has that. That is the top of every wall and door that we're looking at. This content is going to make our people happier or smarter, and that's non-negotiable.
See, but I think the blame thing is entertaining. Like I think I want sports radio that informing is a big part of it. I want entertainment. Like you use the word enrichment. I'll use the word entertainment. I will also point out that if you want to get a blame pie of the Red Sox trading Devers, Mutstack.com podcast up this week. I did my own blame pie. So you're shitting on my blame pie. I gave you a blame pie, and you're just mad that you didn't think of it first.
I'm just not reading it this week. This will be the first time in 400 weeks or whatever it is that I guess I won't be reading. I've had enough. I think it's tired, and I think we can do better than this. And I know that's how business has been done in Boston.
Oh, but yeah. You sound like Sean McDonough raising the bar, who lasted like 2 years in Boston. It's entertainment. Entertain me. Make me laugh. Give me an emotion. Give me an emotion. Make me mad at you.
Anti-entertainment.
That's what I'm looking for.
Not anti-entertainment. My thing is there are more spices in the rack than we've all been seasoning our content with for years and years and years in the city. That's what I'm saying. All right, you ready to spin that wheel? Speaking of seasoning that I probably will never use again, but here we're going to do it. 2 left.
Stop. No whammy.
Oh, well, this is right up your alley. The Patriots bet you like most right now, June 17th.
I had not. Okay, so I'll take a step back. The bet I liked most is basically it's gone now. For a while, you could bet the Patriots over 7.5 wins at -120, -130. That number is now -160 at most places. The number that is like the consensus number across the board is 8.5. Now there is a place out there. Can I say sportsbooks names? Can I use those here? Or sponsors going to be annoyed?
Skip it if you can.
Okay. There's a sports book out there where you can get the Patriots at over 8.5 wins at even money. I think that's probably still something I would bet, but I liked it a lot better at 7.5. They have the second easiest schedule in the NFL, according to Warren Sharp and Sharp Football Analysis. Only the first easiest, the 49ers. They have a good offense. They're going to have a good defense. They have a real coach this year. I think 8.5 or 9 wins is a very, not say likely, but when it was 7.5 at -120, I was sending it in. That bet is gone. I apologize. At the same website, there is one website out there that is offering you Drake May rushing yard stats for the year. So Drake May last year, in a year where, what was the, I was going to call him Freddie Kitchens. Who was the offensive coordinator last year for the Patriots? Who? Alex Van
Alex Van
Pelt,
Pelt,
Freddie
yeah.
Kitchens lookalike, or Browns connection. Okay.
Portly, former Browns offensive coordinators. I understand the
Bang.
confusion.
There you
That's
go.
why
He
I
was so
laughing. Yes.
forgetful. Alex Van Pelt. He had him under wraps. The coaching staff didn't want to run with Drake May. They didn't want to do the design running plays. It was protecting the quarterback, knowing the situation. He still ran for 421 yards. The total at this one website right now for Drake May's rushing yards for the entire season coming up is 425.5. I am pounding the over. Josh Allen rushed for 500 yards plus in year 2. He's had multiple 700-yard rushing seasons. Drake May is a great athlete. I think Josh McDaniels and Mike Vrabel know to get the most out of their quarterback. They won't use it. They'll be crazy with it, but they're going to certainly utilize running Drake May more. He'll be a big part of the offense. And when he was being held back last year, he still ran for 421. Over 425.5 rushing yards available at one book right now in Massachusetts. I will not say that to get Andrew in trouble. It is available out there. You can DM me. I'll tell you what it is. I love the over on that bet. My favorite bet.
Put it in your notes this week.
I can. You know what? Well said.
You're
I
welcome.
need an editor. You're my editor. Perfect.
There we go. 2.5 minutes left. Okay. I like that a lot. I will tell you the Patriots are more open to running Drake May on design quarterback runs now than they were at any point last year. Okay. And that might seem obvious enough. I will report that definitively right here for you. There it is.
Wow.
Now,
okay.
I will also tell you that among the other bets that I like here, if I were a betting man in the Patriots, I don't bet in the NFL. It's not my thing. Not even football with PrizePicks, but go to them for basketball, baseball, hockey, whatever you need. Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year. Okay, this is a popular pick. This number is still higher than I thought. It's plus 750 in certain places. He's behind Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson has never been a head coach before. I don't think that Bears roster is going to be as big as the sum of its parts. Ben Johnson's plus 650. Mike Vrabel is behind him at plus 750.
So it's pretty all right. So it's close. It's okay.
It's close, but that's a big difference if you're putting down a lot of money. And when I look at Mike Vrabel, Drake May's the best quarterback he's ever had. Josh McDaniels is as good as any offensive coordinator he's ever had. He's got more control. He'll be the best version of what you've seen, plus the soft schedule, everything else that we've already covered already, and the infusion of talent. Like, I think that is a great bet. The only other one I thought of for folks that don't want to do the, over under win total, which depends on where you go. To make the playoffs, you can find this around plus 150 in certain places. Go ahead. Like, if you think they're going to get to 10 wins, figure out whatever is the better number between that and the playoffs. But plus 150 for that, if you're high on the Patriots, that's what I would go with.
I was going to look that number. I did not look that number up.
Here's another number.
What can I get it at right now?
Plus 150. We got 40 seconds left, so I have to share this with you because this is not my favorite bet to advise people on. But I will tell you this. Would you care to guess the odds on a Pats-Panthers Super Bowl in one place, a rematch of Super Bowl 38? Mike Mutnansky, longtime bettor. What is the odds of a Pats-Panthers Super Bowl right now?
500 to 1?
Plus 250,000. I've never seen a number that high in my entire life.
Isn't there an episode of The Office where Kevin says that when it offers you odds, you have to go bet that?
If John Cougar Mellencamp ever wins an Oscar, Kevin Malone is going to be a rich man. If the Pats play the Panthers in the Super Bowl, I am quitting the Herald and CLNS Media Network, and there goes the alarm clock to tell me to stop talking about employers. But that's it. Anyway, I don't bet on.
I like your playoffs one. And by the way, there is a plus 155 out there for the people in Massachusetts.
Okay. There we go. Better. All right, good job by us navigating all this. We have one more spin left. Let's see. It's a big spin.
Don't be geometry. Don't be calculus. Not foreign affairs. Something good.
Oh, I can't believe we got here.
What?
Rafael Devers trade. And this is our last topic of the day. No surprise. And there's one option left. You go ahead because I've done a lot of writing and tweeting and talking on the radio about this.
Yeah, I don't do it often, but I did do a podcast on this week at mutstack.com. Without rehashing everything people have heard, the thing that I keep coming back to, Andrew, is something you and I talked about a few minutes before we came on the air, and something I heard amongst some little league dads in the last couple of days, and that is this push by the ownership and the GM that this was the year, right? This was the year. we're going to sign Bregman, trade for Crochet. We've got Devers locked up. We're going for it. And they win 5 in a row. They win 7 of 8. They sweep the Yankees, and they trade their best hitter. And it's just another reminder that this is an organization that cannot be trusted. If you're going to listen to Sam Kennedy and Craig Breslow and take them at their word, it's not their problem anymore. That's a you problem. You're an idiot, respectfully. These guys have lied to your faces for years. If they haven't lied to your faces, what they've done is said things like, oh, we can understand why fans are upset. How about this, Andrew? Stop doing the things that make fans upset instead of apologizing and trying to placate them after the fact. Rafael Devers didn't want to play first base, didn't want to play third base, didn't want to move to DH. But if his salary was $8 million a year instead of 25, he'd still be here. And this team took a small opportunity. It's little, like the window was barely open. They ripped it way to the top and said, okay, he doesn't want to be here. We're happy trading him. And if you're a Red Sox fan, the realization is they want to win on their terms, not win at all costs. And so it is just frustrating that this ownership group continues to lie to your faces as Red Sox fans. And we keep going to games, watching games, buying jerseys, right? This is, if you're trusting them now, that's on you. I don't trust them at all. I don't think Breslow's the guy. And this Devers trade just signifies that they want to win on their terms, not win at all costs, is what I would say.
So there are a lot of angles to this. And again, I understand this is a Patriots podcast. It's a summer. This is the biggest story I think we'll have in Boston sports all summer. So, or maybe all year. And that's why it deserves your time and attention.
Yeah, I would say a couple. I thought about this. Jaylen Brown getting traded could top this, because I think there's a potential.
That's about it.
Yeah.
You know, like it would take the Patriots winning the Super Bowl. Like that's it. That's what this attention deserves.
I agree.
And to the folks who go, good riddance to Rafael Devers, who, let's be clear, was sensitive and selfish throughout this process.
Yep.
Yes. What does it say about a front office that parted with its best player, one of the top 10, 12 hitters on the planet, because he originally told them no, begrudgingly dragged his feet to become a designated hitter at the start of the season, then did that, was told by them, you can put your glove away. But a few weeks later, asked again, hey, can you play this position? And he said no, and had the audacity to say that to the owner and the GM. And then they part with him for what no one on earth would call a fair return, just to wash their hands of him. I would say that's pretty selfish and sensitive. So the great sports crime that Rafael Devers committed against competition and people who care about sports and watch all these games as you and I do, okay, does not compare to what this ownership group did and Craig Breslow did, which I believe is a betrayal of the fan base, right? Like, my parents don't know anyone on the Red Sox right now. Not a great sign for people who care and want to put their money and their time into it. And that's why I wrote for the Herald, which came out in print, I think, today. If they're going to punt on their best player because of they just couldn't get along, mind you, right before he gets traded, he tells reporters it is in the past, which is not a coincidence, by the way, because as I just said, in mid-February to mid-March, he went from pissed, I'm playing third base, I'm never DHing, to their full-time DH. Just over a month ago in Kansas City, he told John Henry no and was upset and obstinate about this relationship. And again, just Sunday, he says, oh, it's all behind us. If you just wait him out, yes, an immature 28-year-old who has a skill set few people on the planet do, you will get that player to play and play well. And he has been mashing. So not only do you gut your lineup, which had no punch anyway, and all your chances this season, which, by the way, Craig Breslow trying to sell you, the Red Sox were better in the short term without Rafael Devers in their lineup, okay? And Abraham Toro still playing every day. Get the hell out of here. This fan base cares more than you think. They know more than you think. And the way they keep trying to pass this off is spit in the face of the fan base, of which, of course, I include myself. But I don't think having feelings towards a team invalidates any reasoning that we just laid out and others have too.
And we could have spent the entire podcast like going through that press conference from Monday night, because you had Sam Kennedy pointing to old championships. You had him saying, he actually said out loud, it's okay that the relationship between a player and a team like wears down. Like, no, you ruined the relationship with Devers. You didn't. You told.
Well, your job is to make it work. You are the adult in the room. He's 28 years old, but you are the manager if you're Alex Cora. You are the chief baseball officer. In the modern day, it is about being partners with the players in the field who are not just your labor, where people go, I couldn't do this at work. I couldn't tell my boss no. What he's doing is working and selling himself. He is the product and the labor, and better at his job, Rafael Devers, than Craig Breslow is, then you are your job. I am at my job that basically everyone else is on the planet. You work with that person or wait them out. And they just said no because they're not interested in winning. They're interested if you're John Henry vetoing trades that would have meant taking on still some of Rafael Devers' salary. No, because you just want to ship the entire contract out. Or Craig Breslow, you would rather have the labor under your thumb than win baseball games and have people who just say yes to you. There are tons of nice guys, Mutt. This is the bottom line, who would do whatever the Red Sox say and walk down Lansdowne Street every single day. Okay? And do whatever they say.
Yep.
There are only few humans on planet Earth that can hit a baseball from home plate onto Lansdowne Street. The Red Sox would rather work with those nice guys than work with Rafael Devers.
I can present my blame pie on this screen right now if you want. I have the image ready.
Tease it. Go ahead.
Let's see. I mean,
Do you have it?
I have it. Yeah, I think you have to.
You literally had this visually. Okay.
Yeah, I made the visual.
Wow. Okay.
Come on now.
Ownership 50%. Look, I thought you were just going to read it off. We have an audio audience. So Mutt has a diagram, a literal pie chart.
Spent a lot of time on this. Yeah.
His blame pie. The one thing I've been railing against because I just think it's the lowest, laziest thing to do on radio. Breslow 30%. So between ownership and Breslow, you're already at 80% of the blame.
Yeah.
Core 10, and then Devers 10. Yeah, I this is delicious pie you've cooked up, Mutt.
See, and you railed against me, like me, and my blame pies, and now you're eating it up. You're scooping it in. You're full of blame.
I mean, you cook the pie to my liking. You cook all the ingredients, the exact. Of course, I'm going to like it. Now, if this was every day in the Mutt Stack, I'm unsubscribed.
No, it's not every day. It's an ode to the great Eddie Andelman who did this for years in Boston radio.
It's good. It's good. All right, final thoughts, Patriots, otherwise, sports media, Celtics, anything?
Oh, my God. Final thought. Whoa, wait a second. How did this not make the list?
What?
Tom Brady gets a statue before a preseason game? A preseason game, Cal. What are we doing? He's the greatest quarterback of all time. Get a better spot than that. Preseason football? Come on now.
Well, you know why they did that. You wrote about it last week.
Oh, because he's got Fox and
yeah. And they're not playing. Well, they have one Monday night game. Why am I blanking on this? They have a Thursday night, a Sunday night, and a Monday night. Sunday night is the Bills.
I'm making fun of it because it's just so
it's
silly.
the Giants. It's the Giants at home. So they could have done it later in the season.
They're doing the right thing. I will say, like, I love Tom Brady. I have somewhere in my house somewhere. I still have the TB12 book, like the first manual. I bought that off Amazon. So I preach at the altar of Tom Brady. I am ready to move on.
You eating strawberries?
What's that?
Are you eating strawberries?
I do eat strawberries and nightshades. Sorry, Tom. I'm ready to move on past the Tom Brady celebrations after this. I'm making fun of it being a preseason game because it's kind of silly August 8th, but like we had the announcement of Tom Brady's announcement. We had the day itself, and now we got the stat. Let's get back to Drake May and the current team because we sound a little bit like Sam Kennedy bragging about our old championships, bringing Tom Brady in here every day. Just saying.
Look, certainly not laughing at Tom Brady, by the way, just that you have the TB12 manual and it's a lot of eating and exercising and there's a lot of good stuff in there, I'm sure. But the stuff that came out that was not so good is kind of...
It's better. It's a better doorstop than it is a book. I'll say that.
And the only alternative, which I just raised, would have been before a Monday night game, right? And they do have that against the Giants of all teams, I believe, late in the season. I want to say it's December. So that would have been the only other day. But yeah, it's weird. They could have done better.
He wants to be he knows it's like, I want to move on. He wants to move on too. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Though week 1, playing the Raiders, minority order, Tom Brady. I would love to have him in the booth, though I know that's not going to happen for week 1. Does he get to talk to both teams?
Raiders, right?
I don't know. I wish he could. I wish we could have one exception back in Foxborough against the team that he currently owns. Because then neither fan base could really cry, oh, he's biased against the other one. He hates my team. Not true.
I don't hate Tom Brady. I don't.
No. All right. He is Mike Mutnansky, the world famous Mutstack. Become the 10 millionth and first subscriber.
Yes.
At Mutstack.com. Get it every Friday. Sports media notes, Red Sox, Pats, Celtics. You'll be back, I'm sure, in a couple of months. Have a lovely summer. Go to all the baseball games you can. Keep those kids off the iPads as you were doing right before we started to record.
It's not going to work. First day, it's a battle already. But go Huskies, and we'll talk soon, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.